Two-prong approach. Okay.
Two-prong approach.
We're going NFL and college?
No,
One or the other?
I got two prongs in college.
Oh, okay.
Where does
I
the
got a lot
term
in college.
two-prong approach come from?
Isn't it like an apparatus?
Right. The thing
Like,
you get hot dogs with, but I don't know.
yeah, you pick it up with two prongs, but then the plug for into the wall socket, there's two prongs.
Oh, I got you. Yes.
So it's a two-pronged approach with the prong for the hot dog and the prong for welcome to
Solved.
Big Ben and K Winn. Each week we broadcast live on NoFilter.net and YouTube. More of an audio podcast person? Don't worry, we've got you covered. Download, listen, subscribe, and 5 stars anywhere you get your podcast. Today, we're going to talk about NFL Week 4, a little college football. I promise no more prongs. A little fantasy football, and much, much more. I'm K Winn. He's Big Ben, and my Seahawks might not lose a game this year.
We've had the easiest schedule in the NFL, and that cannot be debated. Skylar Thompson is not an NFL quarterback by any means. There's probably Arch
He's
Manning.
an NFL backup quarterback.
Arch Manning would have had a better chance of leading the Miami Dolphins to a win over the Seahawks. Still 3-0, beneficiary of a weak schedule. Big game coming up. Big game against the Lions. Dan Campbell, who had to move out of his house due to his daughter's friend. I don't know. But yeah, the Seahawks are 3-0.
There's only 5 teams that are undefeated. Chiefs, Bills, Seahawks, Vikings, and the Steelers. Is it too soon to think that my Seahawks are going to go 17-0?
Far too soon. But, I mean, if you're McDaniel, or excuse me, if you're Grubb, who's been the offensive coordinator, you couldn't ask for a better 3 games to start the season. Yeah. You get to massage in your offense. JSN has looked good. Tyler Lockett's a tertiary target now, but DK, a big 71-yard reception. Charbonneau looked good as a backup. You get Kenneth Walker back. Like, things are clicking.
Defense is good. They're young. Yeah. They can tackle. They can cover. And what is it? Probably 9 wins get you to the playoffs? They're only 6 away. 6 is the magic number.
Listen, the biggest adversary, protagonist for the Seahawks last week was the Rams coming back in the second half against your Niners.
I know.
Like, that's huge.
Yeah.
That's huge. That's separation. Everyone thought that the Niners could cakewalk in that game. Purdy looked good in the first half, but then they blew it. And so that helps the Seahawks immensely. Listen, if the Seahawks were 2-1, we're okay. But the fact you needed to be 3-0 against those teams.
Yeah. Because if they struggle, which every NFL team struggles with injuries and play calling and schemes and matchups, it's like they got a 3-game head start, right? I said, it's a race to 9 wins. If you get above 9s, you're probably in the playoffs.
It's spotted three wins. And a lot of people have said, and the odd thing about this is the Rams winning that last game gives them some hope.
Yeah.
If they go 0-3, they're probably not mailing it in, right? But Cooper Kupp comes back, probably not as quick. But the division and all, the Cardinals look okay. But
they can score some points. They just can't stop anyone.
Right. But with the Niners 1-2, the Seahawks look really good. They're in obviously pole position. Telling is going to be this week. Very telling against a very good Lions offense. So we'll see how that shakes out. You're talking about the Seahawks just so we don't have to talk about the Niners. That's fine.
Listen, we don't need to talk about the Niners every week. I don't want the fans to think I'm a homer. But this does bring me to my first question of the day, Big Ben.
Shoot.
5 undefeated teams: Chiefs, Bills, Steelers, Vikings, Seahawks. Which team is most likely not to make the playoffs out of all those undefeated teams?
God, there's still questions. Like, Tomlin won't name a starting quarterback, which is kind of odd, but you're 3-0 with Justin Fields. Yeah. That's odd to me. That I always look at the division, right? How are you going to get in the division? I would say the Vikings have probably the biggest chance to miss the playoffs just because Darnold's so shaky. I think he's hurt, but not out, down, but not out. And then you got the Lions, the Packers, the Bears are better than they were. So I would think the Vikings have the strongest chance. You look at the Steelers division with the Browns, who are down. Deshaun Watson can't figure it out. And then the Chiefs are the Chiefs. Like, God, the Chiefs have played. They're not great, but gosh, they just win games. Same goes for the Bills. Josh Allen is number one on the MVP race right now, or has to be.
Yeah.
So amongst those 5 teams, it's not. I could very easily say the Hawks too, but maybe reverse jinx is in order. The Hawks, no. I would say the Vikings. You?
I would agree. It comes down to either the Steelers and the Vikings, and I look at the division. It's what, AFC North versus NFC North. The Lions are there. Green Bay is winning with Malik Willis and Jordan Love. Just like Mike Tomlin won't name a starter, like Matt LaFleur won't really say how long Jordan Love's going to be out. It's almost like he could be ready. So I think the Vikings. Yeah, I would have to go to the Vikings, even though I love Sammy Darnold. I love what the defense is doing. Brian Flores, say what you want about him as a head coach. He's a great defensive coordinator. Minnesota's D is good. But I think the AFC North, for how good it was last year and the last couple of years, I think it's down this year. We saw the Bengals. The Ravens are 1-2. They could have easily lost that game. The Browns, Deshaun Watson. I think the Steelers make the playoffs. I think they have a better shot than the Vikings at this point.
I agree with you. I absolutely agree with you. And it is how you start. I mean, you get some tailwinds behind you, and it makes obviously you're going to lose some games. But if you're 3-0, you're spotted a bit of a head start. I want to go to your Flores comment.
Okay.
We talked about coordinators, being maybe not being head coaches, right? You can't do the whole game, but give yourself one task to build the defense, and you're pretty good. Flores has proved that this year with Minnesota. The other guy I want to talk about. Who do you think I'm going to mention? He's now
Seahawks offensive coordinator from UW?
No, he's never a head coach. The qualification for this question would be you have to be a head coach previously, and now you're in a coordinator position.
Chip Kelly.
Cliff Kingsbury. Cliff Kingsbury is now the offensive coordinator for your Washington Commanders. I don't know if you've seen Jaden Daniels in that development.
Oh, yeah.
But they looked very good against Cincinnati. I mean, really good. He looks comfortable. He's putting him in. He had the highest completion percentage of any quarterback ever in a single game. Like, talk about setting up a guy for success. Jaden was able to do it. It's interesting. I think coordinators are going to end up getting paid a little more. Because think about Saban. Saban wasn't necessarily the play caller, right? He was the man in front. He was the representation of.
He hired Lane Kiffin.
Exactly.
He hired Sarkisian.
Yep, exactly. And sometimes you want that. The great minds just sit in the back and do what you do best. And Cliff Kingsbury is doing it for the Commanders. They look great.
Yeah.
I mean, they look really, really good. Brian Robinson Jr. looks good. They're using Eckler how they should use him. Daniels is comfortable. Like, that's a team that you look across. They got the Cowboys in the division. They got the Eagles in the division, Giants. They could be a playoff team pretty easily.
Well, we always talk about it. It's coaching, it's personnel, and it's scheme. And Cliff Kingsbury, he knows how to scheme up something with a mobile quarterback. Kyler, Mahomes, Caleb Williams, all different in their different ways. Now he's got Jaden Daniels. He's in a better position than Bo Nix and Caleb Williams.
Absolutely.
The only person, he's a better position than Michael Penix too, and Drake Mayo.
You're exactly right. Jaden.
Or whatever.
Mayo.
The head coach is now the quarterback, and they are
Terrard and Drake. I agree with you, and that's Jaden Daniels came into the exactly right situation. A team that's rebuilding, the team that hasn't won previously, the team that was kind of sour on Sam Howell. It didn't work out, and now Jaden's flourishing. 3 total touchdowns last week. Won some games in fantasy. Jaden's going to be. I said this rookie class. Malik Neighbors showed out this past week. Like, this rookie, Myron Harrison had a touchdown again. It's going to be fun to see how these rookies shape the NFL.
It is. Do you want to go to your second prong?
My second prong, the college prong? Okay.
Whoa. You're going to college. Let me stay with NFL, then we'll go to college. Let's keep it consistent and cohesive, unlike the 49ers down the stretch. All right. So we are in week 4 of the NFL season. We are big fantasy football general managers, players, fans, activists. So I want to do a little redraft. We're not going to go through the whole draft because that would take like 2 hours. But I'm going to name some players. And going into week 4, knowing what you know now, where would you draft them? Like, what round?
Okay, shoot.
Tyreek Hill.
No, Tua is injured. Ooh, he's a third rounder, probably.
Easily.
Yeah, third. Like it's all about your
Devon
day.
Achin.
Listen, that guy's going to get fed, but he's still a third rounder. He's going to
Yeah.
get fed the ball a lot, but still, when you have a quarterback, they know they're not going to throw the ball. It's not as easy to run. It's third
Not as
rounder,
easy as
fourth
run.
rounder, somewhere in there.
I mean, these Dolphins are going back at least 2 or 3 rounds without Tua and a third string quarterback.
Exactly.
All right, where do you want to go next? Sam Darnold.
Ooh. Listen, he's still a QB2. Like, you don't draft him as your QB1. There's no way you're relying on Sam
I'm
Darnold.
just saying, like, the first 3 weeks, you know what's going to happen going into week 4.
If I'm starting him, I'm gonna, I would start Purdy before him. I would start. Derek Carr's been great, except for last week.
Darnold's been better.
Darnold has been better. He's still free agent pickup, in my opinion.
Wow. So he's definitely behind Burrow, Allen, Holmes, Hurts, Lamar. I think he falls into that second tier. He's definitely better than Trevor Lawrence and Anthony Richardson. My next guess, Anthony Richardson. Where would you draft him?
Man, I had him. He's a keeper in one of my leagues. Oofta. We're still winning games without him, but man, there's upside there. Like you can't. Like Sam.
He's
Darnold,
not a first rounder.
Sam Darnold's hit his season. No, he's not. Sam Darnold's hit his ceiling, right? Anthony Richardson is at his floor. Like, there's no way he can get worse. There's no way. And I think what they're going to do is they're going to open it up for him. Like, they haven't really opened it up for him. They haven't let him run as much as probably he'd like to. So I think they're going to open up for him. I still slot him after those 6 that you just named. Maybe just before Burrow.
Okay. You know what they need to do? They need to put in tape of Lamar Jackson and say, this is what you're going to do on Sunday.
Exactly.
You're either running the ball, handing the ball off, or throwing to your tight end.
I mean, you have kind of the same personnel, right? You have Jonathan Taylor, who is your Derrick Henry. You have your Zay Flowers, who's your Josh Downs, maybe. You have your Big Bateman, who's your Michael Pittman Jr. Like, you have all the same pieces. You're probably missing a tight end if you're the Colts in terms of looking at like Isaiah Likely and Mark Andrews. But I mean, you could create that same playbook pretty easily.
Good. 2 more. Travis Kelce.
Oh wow. He's at his floor too. Like, I don't think he's played out. I just don't think that he's been healthy enough. So he's still like a 6th or 7th rounder in my opinion.
Malik Neighbors.
Ooh, God, that guy's doing great things with Daniel Jones throwing you the ball.
I know.
That's ridiculous.
That's the reason why I wouldn't have drafted him first round or even second round. I was scared of that.
But listen, he's the sole proprietor of that like wide receiver corps, right? Like, it's bad. But I'm like, he's a 2nd, 3rd rounder right now.
I mean, he might be first rounder.
He could, yeah, absolutely. Wow. Malik Neighbors is nice, man. Like, he's getting 18 targets. I mean, how can you not catch the ball and score some touchdowns at that rate, right? Like, he's a pro already.
Well, NFL, like fantasy football, it's week to week, right?
It is.
And a lot of these players have peaked early. They've shown promise, but it's a long season. I think the cream will rise to the crop. But right now, I'm struggling because I've got Devon Achin and Tyreek Hill on my team, and we're putting up close to nothing.
Right. No, here's what I've resided to. I'm letting the algorithm go. Like, there's a thing in the ESPN thing where you just kind of click it and the projections and algorithm like work themselves out.
Yeah.
I hit that. I don't look at what happened and just set it down, because every time I touch it, something wrong goes. Like, the algorithm knows too much. Like, so I do myself a favor. I don't overthink it. I just let the algorithm do it. Like,
so data analytics are big in your front office.
Absolutely. I trust the data. I'm a data-driven approach guy. Like, it's...
I need to trust the data. I'm going with the eye test, and I'm failing.
Yeah, exactly. The gut feel doesn't work anymore. The gut is wrong. The gut has been wrong as of late. Let's transition to NCAA.
All right.
I bring this to you because you, sir, have been to a Georgia game this year.
I have.
You saw Kirby take out Dabo Sweeney in the Clemson Tigers. Made him look silly. A lot of talks of Dabo and Clemson on the descent, but they play in the ACC and they're going to be all right. They're still in the college football playoff conversation. But they go into Tuscaloosa this week, where for the first time in a long time, long time, couple decades, I believe, Alabama is a dog.
Yeah, I know. That's
They are a
crazy.
dog. I mean, that hasn't been, and we're not talking like Alabama's down. They're ranked
No.
fourth in the country. They're not garnering any first place votes right now. You got Texas, you got Georgia, and then you got Ohio State. Based on what you saw, who wins that game?
Right now, based on what we know today, it's Wednesday morning. I'm leaning towards Bama because Mikael Williams, edge rusher on Georgia, one of the top defensive players in the country, maybe a top 5 pick. He hasn't played the last couple of games. He may be out. And then on the offensive line, I'm going to butcher his first name, but I think it's Rutledge, their offensive line, their star. He's definitely out. So I think George is missing a lot of key pieces, which has led them to like all of these wins, these national championships. And I'm not really sold on their offense. Besides Frazier and Etienne, I don't know if they have any weapons on the outside. I don't trust Carson Beck. I'm leading Bama. I mean, Bama's putting up 47 points per game. And listen to this name. If you're a running back and you have this name, you're obviously elite. Jam Miller. He's averaging, I think, 9.5 yards per carry. They got Jalen Monroe. They've got Ryan Williams, who Nick Saban said he's like Amari Cooper. I'm leaning. Sorry, dogs. Sorry, Bulldogs. I'm leaning Bama as of today.
You can't trust the stats. We all know this. The first 3 games of the year. I mean, look at who they're playing. Like,
I'm just saying, Kalen DeBoer is a great offensive mind. He's got more talent now than he's ever had, and George is missing one of their top defensive players.
Here's my theory. Knowing what we know about the SEC, they'll get 7 teams into this college football playoff or something along those lines, right?
Yeah.
Just don't get hurt. Like, don't come out of this hurt. Listen, if Bama wins, they probably flip-flop spots in the top 25. Nothing more than that happens, right? Unless you actually get boat raced if you're Georgia. But don't come out of this where, you got 5 guys down and then you lose by a touchdown and then you're going to the rest of the season. Like, the playoff committee kind of looks at this probably and goes, whoever wins, might be the difference. But they could probably play in the SEC championship again.
Yeah.
So what do? Do you show your whole deck of cards? Do you go all out for this game? I think it's going to be a little tempered game. You're going to see a lot more running. You don't want to get your quarterback hurt. It's going to be, in my opinion, low scoring game.
Yeah. I think the wild card is Kirby Smart, right? Like, he's got the experience. He's probably the best college coach right now. So despite all these injuries, even though I'm leaning towards Bama, maybe I'll pick my Bulldogs.
Okay.
But Georgia has to go to Bama. They've got to go to Texas. Like, they've got to win one of those games.
They do. And they're aware of that.
You don't want to be a 10 or 11 seed going into the college.
Right. They're aware of that, right? So if we're down 2 scores to Bama, what are we going to do? Put it in overdrive? No, we might shift down to third gear and take an L, but by no more than 10 points or something along those lines. My other question to you around
second prong.
So it came out. Brett Venables was talking about Dylan, who's the starting quarterback for your Oregon Ducks now?
Dylan Gabriel.
So Dylan Gabriel's been
That's how he throws.
He's a 6th-year guy at this point. The guy's been in and around. He started at UCF.
He's following in Bo Nix's footsteps.
Yeah, he started at UCF. Make his way to Oklahoma. Now he's at Oregon. And Brett came out and he goes, you can't tell a guy not to leave anymore. You can't give him false hope. There's NIL money out there for him. They're just going to go.
Yeah.
So my question to you, you're a head coach. Do you change your recruiting in and around that? Like, do you continue to go after 5-star guys, have them come in and know that the minute they aren't starters, they're leaving? Like, do you focus on development guys over kind of upper echelon guys? Like, what's your recruiting process, knowing that these guys leave, especially quarterbacks, the minute they aren't starting?
I think you have to do what like Georgia, Bama, even give Oregon credit. I think you have to do what they do. Obviously, they're the upper echelon of college football. I think you still have to recruit these five-star athletes. You've got to build the culture. You've got to build the foundation, knowing that some of these people are probably going to leave and you're going to have to get some people from the portal. But I think the foundation of your recruiting is high school athletes. Because
Still,
the flip side of it, yeah, you look at like these other schools like Colorado, like I don't, there's really no culture there. Like
uh,
everyone's in and out. It's almost like you're there today, gone tomorrow. So like how
yeah,
much am I vested in this program or winning this game? So I think you got to lead with the high school and then know that like if I'm going to recruit like you always recruit, this is what I always heard. You always recruit to like I don't know how to say it. To replace the players you just recruited, right? So like if
right,
I'm recruiting linebackers, quarterbacks, receivers this year, the next year I'm doing the same thing, right?
right.
And then because some of those will leave, some of those won't pan out.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Yeah, I mean, yeah, to your point, you're not going to, they kind of look at it's ebbs and flows, right? And there's a lot of times like, oh, there's like a lot of good offensive linemen, right? Well, you can't just say, all right, I got my offensive lineman for the year. I can look 2 years out, right?
Yeah.
No, you got to keep the funnel coming in. What brings me like a person that I think about this in the landscape of football now, John Calipari. He'd
Yeah.
go out and get every 5-star he can, right? But inevitably, some guys would leave, but he'd still have that contentious. Play him as freshmen, get in, develop them if they could. But 1-2 years, bingo, bango, bongo, you're out. It's almost as if now it's you got to whoever can work the portal the best.
Yeah.
Like I don't know what that looks like from a recruiting standpoint, but it happens. Like there's phone calls being made. They reference Dylan Gabriel just like the minute he said, "Hey, I might leave," there's people on the phone with him going, "Hey, here's why you should come here. Here's what you're going to get out of it. Here's the amount of money we're willing to sign you for." Because it becomes like it's a recruiting pitch all over, and it's different from the recruiting pitch you're giving to high school athletes.
Absolutely.
I don't know
And
where
for
the
every kid that is going to leave in the portal and make their money, which is fine, they have the right to do it. There are still some people that want to stick around. And I go towards like, do you want to get paid or do you want to develop into the best player once you reach the NFL?
right.
Like my USC Trojans lost to Michigan, but Miller Moss, he could have left. He stuck around and now he's going to start and he's going to be quarterback under Lincoln Riley. I think that gives him better opportunity to play at the next level. You've got Arch Manning. He could have left, right? But he
Yeah.
wanted to learn under Sark and grow and all of that. So like, yeah, it's almost like it's the quick fix. Like, yeah, I can go get paid, but like, can you develop into the player that you're going to be at the next level? Some don't
Well,
even care; they want to get paid, which is perfectly
yeah,
fine.
exactly. Like, how invested are you in the program? I think go
Or are
back.
you invested in yourself?
Right, exactly. Go back a decade or two. Right, you stuck around. There was no transferring. Like you developed in the program. You went to where you believed you'd become the best football player, or you had the best opportunity. Let's call it that. Now it's you can determine where your best opportunity is after every season. Right,
Yeah,
you're like, am I at the best spot? Is the grass greener on the other side? And for a lot of these kids that go in the transfer portal, they don't find the grass ever again because
no,
they're not picked up,
yeah,
And so for every person that's Dylan Gabriel or Cam Ward, there's a lot of kids that just aren't seeing the field ever again.
mm-hmm.
So you got to figure that into your whole equation too. College football's gosh, I don't, it's, you ever seen that meme where the guy's got 60,000 things on a whiteboard and, it's just, and there's like, MC squared times minus the algorithm. That's how I feel about college football right now. Like I can't keep track of kids.
How do you
Cougs are
feel about Washington State playing Boise State this weekend?
biggest. I mean,
Big game.
big game. I was joking with my buddies. I said the San Jose State game is a play-in game for San Jose State. I think they had some sort of stipulation in that game where if they won, they were in the new Pac-12, and they almost did. I mean, it was who had the ball last, obviously, and they won in second or two overtimes. God, what's his name? The Boise State running back is literally Derrick Henry. Like the
Yeah.
guy is an absolute utter beast. So, do you sell out on the run and then hope you don't lose on the passing game? The Cougs are going to have a test. It's going to be tough. You win there, and you're in the top 25 for sure. Yeah. And you kind of pave your way for who knows, right? Just keep winning. And Mateer is a guy. Someone was saying he's a no, yes guy. No, yes. Like for every 2 no's, somehow something works out. He's a no, yes guy. So he's fun to watch. Like he brings energy to the game. He's mobile. Cougs are fun to watch, and I think the entire fan base would say that. Like you beat Texas Tech without their best running back, but still it's a win. You beat San Jose State at home.
Beat UW.
Beat UW, right? We're chalking up some wins, some significant wins. These aren't. We beat Portland State too, but like the Cougs are fun. Like they're a good team to watch. People, anyone that turns on that game, Boise State, is going to enjoy watching that game.
Listen, the Cougs schedule is stronger than the Ducks at this point.
It is. Absolutely. And that's not going to change. The Cougs are going to have to schedule these tough non-conference games. Let's be honest. And there's some teams that aren't going to want to play the Cougs. Jake Dickert's done a great job talking about a program. Like he's invested wholeheartedly. And as we go through the transition, if he comes out of it on top and, all of a sudden they have a college football playoff spot, big work ahead of us, but we're going. Oh yeah, absolutely. It could be in Bangladesh and I'm going.
It could be in Tuscaloosa. It could be at the Grove.
Ooh, where? Yeah,
it could be in Knoxville.
Let's answer that question. Okay, where? If it's a college football playoff game and we're a visiting seed, where would I want that to be? Where would you want that to be?
Well,
you're a Coug.
As a bandwagon Coug fan, I'm more interested in the location. This will be December. I want to go to Knoxville, but I also want to go to the Grove. So either one of those. I want to go to either one of those schools.
Gosh, and I don't think there would be more different schools than Mississippi and Washington State. Take me to... I want to go to a Florida school almost, but that's not. Austin. Maybe take me to Texas A&M.
Ooh, okay.
Maybe that stadium's massive. You blend in pretty well.
All right.
Houston, I guess. We're getting ahead of ourselves, but
we'll see. We still got
we've got a little ways to go for that.
Yeah.
All right, you want to get out of here?
Let's get out of here at Big Ben K Winn _ at Big Ben K Winn _ anywhere you get your social media, Instagram, Threads, TikTok, Facebook. If you are an audio podcast, download, listen, subscribe, 5-star us. If you're watching this live or on demand, drop your comments below, NoFilter.net and YouTube. Each week, I'm K Winn, he's Big Ben, and this is All Things Football.
Boom.
Boom.